Very good evening to all the future MBAs. I hope you're all in good health and you're rocking that exam preparation of yours. So, I am Sheetal, a verbal teacher here at Hitbullseye, and today I will be discussing a very important part that is going to play a very important role in your selection into the MBA institutes. So, today we are going to discuss essay writing. Not just is this important for the interview round for the IIMs do ask you to write essays on certain topics. It is also very important from the ZAT exam perspective because there's a full-fledged topic for which you are given 10 minutes time to write an essay. So, it's very important that we know the nuances, we know the tips to write a good essay. And that is what we will discuss today. So without any further ado, let's see how to master essay writing. So you can all stop me in between, you can all drop in your doubts if you have any. And this video is going to be really helpful because we are going to talk essay writing thoroughly. We will see what are those short tricks that we should all follow to, produce a nice, a perfect, a catchy essay. Right. So to begin with, we need to understand what is this essay writing practice. So writing an essay means fashioning a coherent set of ideas. So anything that is in our mind is in forms of groups, in forms of clusters. But when you are writing it in a form of essay, it need to be a coherent one, a tightly knit one that should make complete sense. Because essays are essentially linear, they offer one idea at a time. They must present their ideas in the order that makes most sense to the reader. So, when you are writing an essay, you have to think from the perspective of a reader. Had you been a person who was reading someone else's essay, it would have been easier for you if it is ordered in a proper way and it's a coherent one. It gets easier for the similarly, it gets easier for the examiner also to understand your essay better if it's in a linear form. Moreover, when you are writing an essay, let's say you're writing it in 3 paragraphs, there need to be different topics for all the 3 paragraphs. As such, you should not be beating around the same topic again and again in each and every paragraph. So not only just the topics of each and every paragraph, there should be a sequence also. It should logically, change into the other paragraph. There should be a link between the previous one and the following one. Successfully structuring an essay means attending to a reader's logic. So that is the foremost thing you need to keep in mind. Some misconceptions about essays are: one is that a good essay should be written in a formal, impersonal way with a good scattering of long words and complicated sentences. So, we are not trying to show our as such language skills. We are not trying to show how many jargon do I know, how fancy can I write. Though it obviously adds to your first impression of the essay, but then it should come with logic. The other misconception is to write as we talk. So neither it is too much of formal nor can it be too much of informal, like a letter we write to our friend. So you can be personal, but a certain degree of formality and objectivity is expected in an essay. So try to avoid direct the personal pronouns, I would say. Rather, try to write it in a very, formal way. But yes, your take towards it should be reflected. Your inclination towards the topic, what are your critical views about the topic, they should be reflected in a very subtle way. So you need to maintain the right balance. Then it comes to our mind what is actually required to deal with essays. The important requirements of the style are: first one is clarity and precision of the expression. First of all, whatever topic you have to write the essay on, you should be clear about it. Take 2 to 3 minutes time, or maybe 1 or 2 minutes time to at least reflect on it, to get into the cognates of your mind and think about it, what you actually know about that topic. Clearly order it into clusters, into groups, and then arrange them in a proper way when you write your essay. Use simple and logical language and write in full or complete sentences. You have to convey your message in a very logical way to the reader, to the examiner. Only then he'll be able to give you good scores. So it is important that though you are showing that your vocabulary, your style of writing has grown from the school's time, but then you also have to show that what you are writing is actually understandable to the other person, comprehensible to the other person. So you should avoid jargon, especially jargon that is not directly connected to our subject area. We all have this bad habit. We all do this. Let's say we know a set of words, we know some difficult jargon, and we somehow try to fit it in the essay on purpose just to impress the examiner. This doesn't always help, especially when the jargon is not directly related to the topic. So we cannot be too much emotional about it, right? You have to write it in a logical way and being less emotional, being more objective, I would say. So it's important you use only the relevant jargon. You can be personal by offering your own viewpoint on an issue, or by using that view to interpret other authors' work and conclusions. So, let's say if you are including any quotations in it, you are including some story or any fact in your essay, then you should be giving your take also towards it. So, that much of personal you can be while writing the essay. Do choose proper style and format. Now that we know how much do we need to think, what kind of things are required from our side, another very important thing is your style and format of the essay. Neither can you write an essay making the pointers, making the headliners, nor can you write it in one go. It need to be in the paragraphs forms, and there need to be a very smooth transition from one paragraph to the other one. So let's see what are the format and style that you should be adopting. So, a good essay is not about style and formatting, of course, but style influences the first impression your paper makes. We all would agree to that. Be it anything, not just essay, be it anything, if it is organized, if it's appealing to the eyes, you feel like reading it. And that is the first impression. So, yes, to some degree, you need to be careful about the formatting and the style. First and foremost, evaluators want to see the correct essay style. This is the first thing they look for, that you actually know the format of writing an essay. And structure depending on the topic and essay type students have to tackle. So this is the first thing they look for, and then they move on to see your matter. How much knowledge do you actually have about the topic? In many cases, the style meant to be used in the essay is laid out in the directions or has been established beforehand. In this case, our work gets reduced. We are already given in the instruction what do we need to write, right? They already show you the hint. You have to favor it, you have to criticize it, or what. So, learning so far that we have received is topics revolve around. If we think about it, now when we are preparing for essays, we wonder what all should I include in my reading in this limited time I have. So broadly you can divide it into essays related to society, all the social, it can be social problems, it can be social evils. So try to cover up 3 to 4 essays from all of these topics, which will give you some insight about different subject areas. Essays can be based on society. It can be issue of women emancipation. It can be some other social issue. It can be about child labor. It can be about population, global warming. It can be about AI and its effect on the society. It can be anything. It can be based on development. Any social technological advancement, anything that has recently been in news, it can be based on it. It can be based on economy in general, right? Understanding of international and national issues of socio-political and geopolitical importance is also very important. For example, you might get an essay on Russia-Ukraine war or something related to it, right? You can get an essay on dystopian world. Can you see dystopian world approaching towards us? Something like that. It can be insightful. So you have to be flexible about it. In this period of time, what you can do is try to cover 3 to 4 essays of each of these subject areas, these arenas, and try to grab those important phrases, quotations, and ideas, and some bit of jargon related to it. Write it down, learn them thoroughly, and when you get a molded topic in the exam, you should be flexible enough to use those pointers judiciously in your essay. Now, what to keep in mind? First thing is show some respect. Now, this is very important. Don't take these pointers lightly. Think about reading an essay that attacks your nationality, your gender identity, or your religious beliefs, or your race. Would you like that? No, we would get offended. Would you like reading one such essay? Of course not. Similar goes for us also. When we are writing an essay, we have to be considerate about the reader who's reading it. We are unaware about the nationality, race, gender of that reader. So it's very important that to some extent it should be neutral and respectful for each and every area, right? So no one wants to read any essay that offends or attacks. So be respectful by carefully choosing your words so that you don't offend anyone. Being respectful also means avoiding generalization about the specific group. Now, there is a very, bleak difference, I would say, between the two. Though you cannot offend anyone, but then you cannot be like very much generalized in your opinion, because that would show the examiner that you don't have a standpoint. So, though you have to show your standpoint, but in a very subtle way, being respectful at the same time. And when you are making some claim against something or in favor of something, try doing it with the evidences by writing down some, let's say, some great thinkers, their philosophies, or maybe by providing some kind of data. For instance, if you are writing about immigration, now this is an example. Imagine yourself writing about immigration. Would it be nice if if you use words like alien or illegal? No, that would be very rude, and that would show you're not sensitive towards, these people. Instead, use more correct terminology like migrant, immigrant, or refugee, depending on the context of your discussion. Now, this is just one example. You should be applying the same to whichever topic you are writing on. Second is you need to stay cool. What do we mean by it? Being passionate about a subject is no excuse for going off on a rant. Rant is when you are illogically just throwing or blabbering anything that is coming to your mind. We sometimes get very energetic, I would say, or emotional or passionate about certain topics. For example, there can be a very um, diplomatic topic like, should internal assessments be banned in schools and colleges because it might give rise to discrimination from a professor on the part of the professor. And then some students who might have actually faced this in their school or college time, it would become very hard for them to be, be neutral and write about it from both the perspective, and they would somehow end up using their own personal experience in it. And that somehow goes against it, because this has not been experience of each and every one. So though you can bring in some bit of subjectivity, but you have to be considerate that it should be to some extent generalized from the perspective of all the students, right? Example, let's say you are unhappy about the homeless population who begs for money in your neighborhood. Every time you stop on those traffic lights, some or the other person come. Every time you go out for eating something on the eating joints, some or the other beggar come and disturb you. And you are bothered by this. If your essay simply rants about how you think homeless people make your city look bad, how they shouldn't bother people, and that they should just go and get a job, it does little good to solve the problem or rationally discuss the topic. So, when you get one such topic to write, it is very important not just you discuss the factors that have resulted in this problem, people begging on streets, people coming and, asking you for money all the time now and again. You also have to discuss solution for it, and that too with logical viewpoints, with the data and with the analysis that would make your answer even more strong, and that would show the examiner that you have sensitivity towards not just the poor people, but then you have a solution for them to tackle with this problem. Ranting is something we all can do, but who are you? Who are you going to be? You're going to be a manager someday. They expect that leadership quality from you who can solve problems. So providing solution is very important in essays. So next point is you need to be convincing in your essay. You can do this in three ways. So these are three simple tricks you need to keep in mind. First is create logical arguments. whatever you are writing, any argument that you are presenting, it should be backed with some reasoning, some logical reasoning, or else it would just, appear to be hollow. Choose appropriate evidence. I know we cannot remember each and every data, but then to some bit you can at least remember some percentages. Let's say if it is about the weather crisis, climate crisis, if it's about poverty, if it's about happiness index, these are some of the things you can remember to some extent and use them in general way. Avoid bias. Do not be biased towards one group of people, one thought process, one kind of philosophy. Try to be a little neutral. Try to talk about everything, pros and cons of each and everything. Now, let's see some steps for topic analysis. For example, when we are sitting in exam and when we see the topic, we just have 10 minutes. If we talk about the ZAT exam, even in the CAT IIMs also, I believe 10 to 15 minutes is something you need to wind up your essay within, right? What would you do when you get a foreign topic in front of you? It's not really very easy to, instantly for your mind to instantly click on all the topics, that too in a coherent way, in an ordered manner. No, we all understand that. But this is the point of time where you can save your time by this trick that I'm going to tell you now. Whenever you see a topic, take 1 or 2 minutes time to analyze it, to think about it from all the perspectives. Now, what are those perspectives? Let's see. Brainstorm the issue for 5 minutes. Think about the topic, scope of the topic. What can be the scopes? You can see, you can use this acronym, spell tree. Just remember this acronym. I will be discussing it even further in the upcoming slides. I'll tell you what these letters stand for, and trust me, this will reduce so much of your work when you are doing your essays. With respect to the agreement also and disagreement also, we will understand spell tree with an example. But first, let's see what actually is spell tree. S is for social. So when you see the topic, let's say topic of women emancipation, try to interpret it from social viewpoint. Then you can try to think of it from the political viewpoint. H is for historical, E is for economics, L is for legal, its legal implication. It can be positive or negative depending upon what you are trying to say. See its technical aspects also. It should be legal aspects and international aspect. What is its relevance if you see it at a international level? For example, although innovations such as video, computers, and the internet seem to offer schools improved methods for instructing students, these technologies all too often distract from the real learning. Now, if you have this topic, it's, I would say, a diplomatic kind of topic. Should you actually support the technological advancements being used in the schools, the slides being used to, teach something to the student, the videos that are being played, or the online classes that you take? Or should there be a barrier to it? Should there be more involvement, manual involvement, more involvement of the teacher, the interaction between the students and the teacher? There can be points in favor of it and against it, but you should not be writing it, in a hazardous way. You should think about it. You should write it in a proper order. So if you start thinking about it from the social perspective, you can say, yeah, it's a good thing, because now in the far off villages where children were not able to go to the schools and have proper education, they can access education sitting at their home using the computers, using their mobile phones. Mobile phones have become such a common thing in each and every house. Our government have run so many channels for free where you get so many e-classes, right? So this is a positive point. Right, and you can say, if you're talking about a negative point from social perspective, you can say it has reduced the human connection, the real touch between the student and the teacher. When they are in a physical class, they discuss the topic. It's not mechanical. Even the teacher gets to know so many new points because she or he is facing so many young minds. They have their own take towards it, and it becomes more engaging. Students get to learn more about it. So those can be positive points. right? And if you say political, you can say political parties take disadvantage of it because they just show that they've you know used computers, or they've implanted so many computers and technological advancements into school just to win vote. They can do that. If you have to talk about it in a positive way, you can do that also. Similar topic you can take in a positive aspect also. Historically, you can see the historical relevance. Earlier, not everyone everyone was able to access information and education, but now people are more aware. People, there is no barriers as such, there is no elite as such now. Elite in the sense of having access to the information. We can all have access to information. So in a similar way, try to explore that topic from all of these perspectives and try to have different interpretations of it. If we see this example, we were talking about innovations, videos, and computers that are being used in school. So, if we want to strengthen the statement, look at the statement first of all. They are saying these technologies all too often distract from real learning. So, the topic itself is saying that these things, these technological advancement, they distract us from real learning. To strengthen it, we can say technology is misused most often for education when teachers rely on it as a surrogate or as a babysitter, and more of their work is reduced. They are more at ease now because the computer is doing everything. So, this is a point that would support the statement. In the absence of a truly interactive learning experience, passive viewing of videos or of web pages is no indication that any significant learning is taking place. When you get things in such a ready made form, we we do not apply too much of our own brain. We don't have our own perspective towards it. The teaching should be in one such way where you are made to think, where you are made to contemplate on the topic, on anything that is being discussed in the class. That is the reason TVs are even called idiot boxes, because we simply passively sit and consume what is being given to us ourselves. We as such do not draw any inferences. We don't critically analyze things that we are watching, and we all just want instant gratification without giving, without actually working hard towards it, without actually thinking too much about it. So these can be some of the strengthening points. One more can be, some types of learning can occur only during face-to-face encounters between teacher and student. That is, teaching techniques in painting, sculpture, performance, acting, drama. These are some of the topics that you cannot do by online learning or by using the technological tools. So in this, the teacher or the guide's interaction with the student is much required. If we talk about the weakening points of the given statement, we can say technology can facilitate real learning if employed judiciously and for more appropriate purposes, that is, rote facts and figures. There are certain rote facts and figures which you have to learn as it is. In that case, technology is good. Computers are an ideal tool for the sorts of learning that occur only through repetition. Typing skill, basic arithmetical calculation, these are some of the things. Uh, computers reduce our, uh, let's say, computer reduces our problems if we talk about these things. Computers, videos, and the internet are ideal for imparting basic textbook information to the students, thereby freeing up the teacher's time to give students individual attention. So, because the most of the part has already been done with the help of computers or technological tools, the teacher can now focus more on individually developing the ideas of the student or exploring what they have to offer to it. Now, finally, let's see what good essay is. We've talked about it, we've talked about the requirements, we've talked about a very nice tricks felt tree by the help of which you can explore so many ideas through different perspective. You can have so many different interpretations about the topic. Let's now finally see what a good essay is, and let's conclude the class. So first thing, content should be apt. The subject matter on the topics. What are you writing about? Second thing that matters is organization of that content. how the argument is constructed using examples, supporting ideas from the introduction to the conclusion. This all matters. And then third thing is presentation. Style, use of language, correct sentences and spellings, and ease of reading. So if we try to divide it into the ratio, you can say ratio, or let's say percentage. Your intro should be 10% of the whole essay, right? The main body or the content or the ideas that you actually have to present should have at least 80%. So you can use 2 paragraphs in your body of the essay. And then in the conclusion, again, I think somewhere around 10% you should be giving to conclusion also. Your opening should be 10%, your closing should be 10%. The rest of it should actually be the content that you actually have weight, you have substance to add to your claim. That is very important. That is what makes your essay really strong. So try following these tips. I am pretty sure it will really help you. Please let us know in the comment box if you were somehow able to, grab something useful from this video, and try to follow these tips. It will really help you. Now, one thing that you need to do before your exam in this limited time frame is try to go through some of the great essays. Try to grab something important from it. All right, I hope this video is going to help you. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe the video, and do not forget to leave in the comment box all the suggestions or the topics that you want us to come with. Thank you and have a wonderful learning time.